if you've ever asked yourself this question about what value am I adding to this world, you're probably seeking for your purpose right now. And you may be one of those people that has reached a certain level of success or what you thought success is, or a level of money, and is just feeling really empty. Or you're one of those people that's like, you realized earlier that, hey, money is not the thing that's going to get me happiness, so you ending up here. That's what this video is really about. That true success is about fulfillment and not just money or financial freedom. Building a business from your passion, something you are interested in, that creates a life of purpose. So many people ask about, like, how do you find your purpose? I didn't even know what I'm passionate about. It's like, the purpose is, to me, finding the thing that you enjoy is able to contribute to the world whilst you are growing and improving yourself through this journey. Because if you think about it, our entire life, what are we really doing? Like, you are not the same person you were when you were 3 years old, right? When you were 13, you're very different. You grew, you grow up, you are constantly growing up. And we are always looking forward to growing up too. When we do you remember when we were a little kid, all you wanted to do was grow up? You wanted to be like an adult, you wanted to be like taller, you wanted to go out and play, you wanted to have permission to go out and do things because it's fun. You had all like curiosity. It's just that somewhere along that line, we got into this education system and we started like being confined to certain behavior. And some of it is good for us. Like, we need to know how to function in society. We need to learn different subjects to give us a sense of like, what do I like more than something else? And then there are subjects that are essential, like math and English, because you got to be able to speak in a way that other humans understand. And math is like, well, you need to count money because that's how this material world operates. So everything else is kind of like, it might be useful, but you're like not sure. So things like arts, graphics, drama, and things, it's like, well, do you like that more than the sciencey subject? That's kind of what school is doing. But the other thing it really gives you is like routine. And then if you think about the rest of schooling, it's like what's giving you is a set of softer skills. Like, are you good with time management? Can you work in a team? You're developing like research skills. When you have to start going to TAFE and uni, like the higher education, after the time you're being dropped off by your parents, right? You develop a routine, so your life feels stable. Like you have a level of certainty of what to expect each day. Because if we didn't have any certainty, our life would just be chaotic, right? So having this routine makes us feel more comfortable, makes us feel more at ease. It's when things are like thrown out of like routine, that's when that uncertainty creates like a feeling that might be scary because we don't know what to expect. We don't like surprises because it's like we don't know how to deal with them, right? So from there is when we kind of got the structure. And then once we start working, well, we kind of get thrown into a career that you chose, that you aren't even sure if you want to do when you selected it, because you haven't lived enough of life to really know your interests. So most people at this point have no idea what their passion is. And then so we feel like the career that we chose, whatever we studied, and we got like the best mark from, that's like an indicator of what we should be doing for life. And it's like so far from that. That's why most people is going through life feeling a little bit lost, because they never went to seek for like the different options they could take. And yes, of course, you don't have time to like study law and then be an accountant and then be a doctor and then do all these things. It's like you pick the path that you feel you might just enjoy a bit more. That's it. Most of that comes from what your parents believe or their influence based on probably your culture and your household and what people are saying. So they influence you to an extent. So when you pick your subject, it's not even fully you that's doing it. So if at that time you had some other things when you were flipping the book and you had more interest, but you didn't do it because you were scared, that might be something you want to explore now. So when it comes to me suggesting that building a business from your passion will create a life of purpose, what we tend to get stuck in is that the belief that I don't have what it takes to succeed in business. I also thought that. I never saw myself as a business owner in my wildest dream. Never. I studied business. I was okay at it. But I was studying business to get that degree to be an accountant, to work for somebody else. My aspiration was literally to work for a big company that is known, that is stable, that will give me plenty of opportunity and a future. Like that's the aim. And for them to invest in my growth. So like I wanted training to be paid for, my professional certification to be supported by the company so that I don't have to fork it out of my own pocket. Like that's what I was chasing. That's what I thought success is. So starting a business was so far from what I envisaged, like where I would be or what, like it wasn't even in my realm. So when people now say to me, oh, I could never do what you do, or starting a business is definitely not my thing. I wasn't born for that. Those type of things. Like I didn't think I was born for it either. But that's because probably because you don't know any friends that is that, or your parents isn't that. So if you don't have someone that like that has paved that path and make it seem like it's possible, like where would the possibility even come from? Like your mind does not conjure it up. It's like, of course, people from around the world or over the internet that seems like, oh, they're winning and they're doing this, and sure, people seems to be like popping up businesses, and there are like coaches and mentors and people selling different things, drop shipping, different options, right, online to make money. And it all feels kind of like shady, or are they even real? Are the results real? Are the testimonial real? Like what is even real in this, like on the world of like the cyber world that we're in this whole internet thing? Because like so many things, it's like it's so unknown, especially now we've thrown AI in. It's like videos, are they fake? Are they real? Like everything is questionable. So of course people will have so much doubt of like they don't have what it takes because they weren't born the entrepreneur, or they weren't born as a business person. So they're going to just like work for someone for life and maybe work as like a crappy salary, and or not. Or you might be climbing the corporate ladder like I was doing. Like keep climbing the corporate ladder thinking that is success. And then you get to this point and go, I didn't even want that. Like I didn't even want my boss's job. Like even if you could have it, it's like, I don't even want to play that role. I don't want to play the politics role. It's not within my character to do that. I'm not into empire building. I don't want to look after departments and look after hundreds of people because that's a lot of stress. Like, why would I want to do that? No matter how much you pay me. The mental capacity of what's required to manage that and all the responsibility, and some of that responsibility is going to be like personal, right? Some of it is going to be a performance-driven thing from the company that they expect you to do. Then there's a big portion that's just like your personal responsibility, because if they paid you enough, or they gave you the status or the position, you feel like you got to perform to that role. And most people go into these positions kind of with like an imposter syndrome or something to prove. So they got to make sure they don't look silly in front of everyone, especially the higher up you climb, right? Because as a manager, as an executive, as a general manager, like the higher you climb, those senior roles have like an added layer of pressure that you didn't get when you were like a junior staff, when you were just like handing reports and someone else's responsibility, right? Like you just had an input into something. And if some crap gone down, yeah, I mean, you might cop it, but you won't cop it in the way that you feel like your name is really dropped and like the big guys are like, they know, right? Because you have like your managers kind of like shielding or protecting you and things like that. So for me, when I say I never saw myself as a business owner, like I studied business to be an accountant and I did that for 15 years. Did I tell you that already? Well, 15 years is a long time. So I think I got on this path because that's the story that most of us is here to follow. Like after school, we're here to get a good job, a stable job, and we just like work there for life. But this material world that we're in values money over meaning. So we all create the story that like, I must chase money. But to what end? For what purpose? That's the whole point of this video. You're getting to this point of like, what value am I adding to this world? Because you feel like every day you show up to work, you don't know if you're adding much value. Yeah, you created that report. Sure, you might have done your job for this thing, but what have you really done? If you were not there tomorrow, if something happened, you won the lotto, you resign from work, is work going to really suffer? The company that you work for? No, they're just going to replace you. So what value do you really add? Are you leaving a real legacy? Do you even care? Like most people I know, the place they work, they don't even know the vision of that company. They can't even recite what that company stands for or is working towards. That's how much people care about the place they work in. They just care about the paycheck. Every week, every fortnight, every month, as long as they get the paycheck, that's why they're going to work. So if that's the reason you're going to work, of course you're going to feel like, what value am I adding? Does it even matter? Does what I do even matter? So if you're questioning that, it's because you're chasing for money and not meaning. So when did I get my hit of clarity? Like, when do you know it's time? Well, for me, it hit when I realized that success wasn't about money, but fulfillment. And what did it take to realize it's about fulfillment? And what is fulfillment? Well, firstly, I only realized when I quit accounting completely, when I left the corporate world for good, after achieving a certain level of financial position that I was comfortable in, that allowed me to quit and to seek for purpose. That moment, that period of my life is when I felt the most empty, the most dark. It's a feeling I don't wish anyone to be in. So if you're chasing money and you think you think money is going to bring you happiness, oh, you are so wrong. Look, money will bring you some happiness. It will, because it can buy you the nicer things. It might mean you can travel more comfortable. It might mean you get like cooler holidays, or you might be able to like buy that drink or that special dinner and you kind of can do cooler things. Yes, 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 those things. Those things. The having resources to be in certain rooms, to experience certain things, it's also necessary for you to find what you kind of like, right? Because if you don't have money, you don't have, then you like everything costs something. So it's like you don't know if you like guitar if you can't afford guitar lessons. So there's a certain point that money will bring you clarity and some happiness. But the moment I would say you hitting like 100,000, that's when it like any more money beyond that doesn't bring real happiness. That's kind of the tipping point for me. Because when you're like at like 50, 70,000, there's a lot of things that like you're still kind of like stressed about because it's like rent is getting more expensive. If friends ask you to go to certain things, you kind of have to decline because like it's kind of like stretching you a bit, but you want to be a part of things and you don't know if you can kind of really afford it and you don't want to get yourself into debt, like spending beyond your means and putting it in your credit card, and that's going to give you more debt because the interest rate is really high, like things like that. So yeah, I feel like 100,000 is the tipping point. So if you're already above that, like you're above six figures, that's probably how you ended up in this video. Because prior to that, I would say it is a good idea to skill up enough to be able to make enough money that you're not stressing about the basic essentials of your life. However, caveat is that if you're living in a pretty expensive city, like I am where I came from, Hong Kong, or like Sydney, one of the more expensive cities, then with the money that you can get, that you can make with your skill set, you can probably live in somewhere like Thailand or Bali, Malaysia or Vietnam for a fraction of the price, right? So if your job right now allows you to work remotely and you're getting like paid pretty well, but your rent can like decrease by like 1/3, I mean, maybe that's worth considering, right? Because it's like, why not? As long as you have enough money to cover your rent and basic food, everything else is just a desire, a want. It's not a need. Like you can drive a Ford or a Toyota and you can still get from A to B. You don't need to drive a Tesla or a Merc or whatever fancy car people like to drive to show off. Like you don't need that. And quality people, when I say quality people, I mean like people that's gonna like bring you like meaning, like real love, not like a gold digger. Like people that value just like wearing a designer clothing or driving an exclusive brand car is like the thing. Like if you're stuck in the mentality that like having a Lambo or a Ferrari is going to give you all the things you ever desire, boy, you're going to be so wrong because you're only going to attract the people that want things from you that you can't even tell what their real personality is. So that's like a whole different video, right? So to stay on track, money is not going to bring you fulfillment. Success is really having fulfillment. Because if you didn't have it, that's failure, man. Like if you work all your life, or most of your life, or a big chunk of your life, like I did, and spent it on a career that you did not enjoy, you will reach. And you get to a certain level of wealth, you will realize that none of that gets you what you want. Unfortunately, most people realize this up on retirement when they're already like 65, 70. And now you get to live your life. And then you realize, shit, I've been working for somebody else, making money for somebody else, and I made them loads of money, didn't get enough appreciation, didn't get enough bonuses, yet I did it year after year. This is my entire life. I dedicated to all these other companies. I did all of these things for them. And now I feel really shaft because now I have some savings that I can go live my life. But now my health is deteriorated because I put work as number one and I didn't spend it with enough with my family or with my friends and things that I wanted. What for? Now you can go, but you don't have people to go with. Or now you can spend more time with your family, but all your kids are grown up and so they don't even want to hang with you. Or you've like not spent enough time in your relationship that, or with your family, that's like, it's been too long now and the relationships are kind of ruined and there's no like, you can't fix it. What was the point? Just so were we just like escaping things that matter, things that are meaningful for us, for other people, for work that won't even care. A company exists as a separate entity, not even as a person, right? A separate entity perpetually, whilst your bosses, people that you know, will come and go and leave this company. The company still thrive if it's bringing in profit. And these people will come and go and they will just keep being replaced. So what was it all for? Why were you so loyal to somebody? Because at one point, loyalty was value. And that was something I held as well. Because I worked in the same company for more than 10 years. My very first professional job. Like, that's almost unheard of. And people used to value this, right? Like, people would be like in the same company for like 40 years. The world is moving so fast now that is not even something that is valued. If someone stayed for that long, the only thing they are doing is they are pigeonholing themselves to be someone that is not really growing, that is just stuck in this and they don't know anything else. There's like no new knowledge. Because if your company value you and you went outside and worked for somebody else and came back with better perspective of better suggestion, better ideas, new improved software suggestions, improvement on processes, those are valuable things to bring back to a place that you once came from, right? So if you have any story playing that's hinged on like loyalty, like I once had, I think this is when you really question yourself of going, is this just my ego talking? Like, what is the actual real reality of the situation, of the world that we live in now? So the key takeaway from this whole video to add value to the world is that success without fulfillment, that is failure. So seek for purpose, not just for profit. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is not profit. And this is coming from an accountant, not from the book's perspective, but from the life perspective. The bottom line of living our life is to seek for purpose, not just profit. Yes, build a business that is profitable. And that is so possible when you align to your passion and a strength of yours, which we all have them, by the way. We all, look, everyone is average across board in general, right? Then there are certain aspects that you do better than others. That's your strength. So it's really simple. All you got to do is monetize your strength. And you will realize, because you are naturally good at this is very easily, you can be passionate talking about it, sharing this knowledge. And as you go on this path, like I did, which, by the way, I didn't know what I was doing initially. But as you go on your purpose-seeking path and you're following just steps of what you like more than something else, just follow your interests of oh, this is a bit better. This is a bit better. I do like this. And the more that you do, you will discover your passion and your purpose. If right now you have no idea and you think you will think about it, you're not going to find it. It's not in here in this moment. It's a discovery. You got to go out and try things. Go out and trust your intuition to guide you on. Think of it like sports. Do you like basketball more than netball? Do you like tennis more than cricket? Right? There are things you know you like more than something else, right? You don't like everything the same. You may not like eating pasta the same as like honey chicken, right? So you always like something more than something else. So it's about following what you like more. That's your clues of what you're passionate in. The more things that you add to your life that you're interested in, a mesh of those will create this passion, will create this energy of like you wanting to share stuff to the world. That's the business that you want to create. Then you will have a life of you show up and help people. You're performing activities every day for no reason other than wanting to help someone. But the side effect of this, doing this, is that people will come knocking on your door because they want to learn what you have to offer. They want to have the same mindset. They want to break out of their own limiting beliefs, their own self-doubt, the way that you have done. So when you can give this gift to someone else, that in itself is a business. That like people will pay for that. The moment people pay you money in exchange for which is something you can offer, that's a business. So it's actually really simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Go out, build your online business with your strength, and this will lead to you having this life of you get paid for doing fun things. Good luck. Any question, drop it into the comment. If you think this is useful, let me know. I decided to do more long form contents.